Hi everyone and welcome to Book Boop. My name is Rachel and today I'm going to talk about all the books I hope to read in the month of June. If you happen to see a video I posted recently called Books for Summer, I had a list of I think 22 books that I was hoping to get to this summer, just ones that kind of had a summer vibe to me and I've had on my TBR for quite a while. Some of them are new releases, some of them have been out for a long time. So some of these books on this list for my June TBR will look relatively familiar if you saw that video because I'm trying to read as many of those as I can this summer. But don't worry, even if you haven't seen it, I'll make sure I give synopses for all of these. Two of them I have physically, the rest of them I will hold up a picture for you so that you can see what the covers look like, but let's go ahead and jump in. So the first one I'm hoping to get to is a book that my sweet sister-in-law gave to me a while back to borrow, I believe, and I still have it and I still haven't read it. And that is The Remarkable Journey of Coyote Sunrise by Dan Gemeinhart. And this just absolutely screams summer. It just looks unbelievably summery and I love it. This is a contemporary middle grade and we are following this young girl here who actually, I believe, lives in a school bus with her dad that's been kind of like outfitted like some kind of trailer or something that they drive around the country. And ever since her mother and her father's wife passed away, they've continually kind of been traveling throughout the country. And this girl, I think her name is Coyote, she's ready to go home, and her father is basically running away from the home because it reminds him too much of his wife, but she's ready to go home. And so she tries to coerce her dad, kind of like get her dad to start driving back towards home without realizing he is. And she's just ready to get back home and be back home again and where her mother is and everything. So I'm excited to read it. I think it looks really cute. It's probably gonna be a little bit sad and warm and wonderful. So I'm excited to read this one. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun to read. Another one I think is gonna be a little bit more of a spooky read, and I really think this one seems summery to me, and that is Watch Over Me by LaCour. Sorry, I blanked for a second. My brain is so scattered right now. This story is about this girl who has just turned 18 and is finally out of the foster care system, and she is offered pretty much a job and also / someplace to live at this farm in the countryside, and she decides to take up on that offer and go move there. But when she's there, I think she starts being haunted by the ghosts of her past, and I think the farmhouse itself is haunted, and it's just sort of, I think it's going to be like a psychological spooky book, which sounds really interesting. And I'm obsessed with the fact that it's like this, and then you open it and then she's staring at you. I show that every time I show this book because I'm like, I think it's just so spooky. But I'm excited to give it a try. It's also a nice short book, so I'm excited to try this one out. I think it's going to be great. Okay, now let's move on to the ones that I don't have physically. Many of these I'll be borrowing from the library, and hopefully I'll pick them up soon. But first of all, I really need to get into some Elizabeth Acevedo, and I'm going to try out Clap When You Land. This is a story that I believe is told in verse, and we're following these two girls whose father recently has passed away in a plane crash, but neither of these girls knows that the other exists. Their father has two different families, unbeknownst to them, and they find out that they're half-sisters, which sounds like obviously like a very awkward and heavy topic. It's going to be sad and interesting. I am so excited to finally get into some Elizabeth Acevedo and just reading something that's in verse. I think that's going to be a really fascinating way to read through a story. So I'm excited to give this one a shot, and this one just felt, again, kind of summery to me. Usually when I think more contemporary books, I think summer. So I'm excited to give this one a try and finally try out some Elizabeth Acevedo because I really, really need to. All right, this next book is the one I'm probably most excited on this TBR. It is a brand new release, and it is Hide by Kiersten White. I love the premise of this book so much. I feel like I've talked about it a lot lately, so I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but I'm really excited about this book. So this is a thriller, and it is about a competition that is being held in a old derelict theme park, and the competition is, if you choose to compete, you have to hide in this old theme park for 1 week and not be found. If you're not found, then you win like a big thing of money. And we have this girl that has decided that she is going to enter this competition thinking that she's probably going to win. But once the competition begins, some of the participants start to actually disappear and start to think there's something more sinister going on in this competition. I am so excited about it. The idea of like an old rundown theme park just sounds so stinking spooky. And I love the whole idea of this story. I'm hoping it's as good as it sounds. I have very high expectations for it. I probably need to lower it a little bit, but I'm very pumped about this one. It just sounds so fantastically spooky and I am living for it. Next is a mix of something that is supernatural and also contemporary, which sounds like a very interesting mix. And it is called Vampires, Hearts, and Other Dead Things. This is a YA book, and we are following this young woman whose father is dying from terminal cancer, and she wants to try to save her father's life. So she ends up going to New Orleans, I believe, to meet with a vampire and see if he can help save her father. It sounds like such a unique and weird kind of paranormal vibe for a contemporary, and I'm just really interested to see what this one's like. I've been sitting on this one for so long and I feel like it's perfect for summer. It's got that paranormal kind of autumnal vibes that I personally love year round, but also has that contemporary summer vibe to it. So I'm really excited to try it out. I think it's going to be slightly spooky, a little sad, and hard-hitting. So I think it's going to be a good time. Next, this one is a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but I've heard a lot of good things about it, and I think it's going to be very interesting. It's called Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. And this is a translated work, I'm pretty positive, and it says on the cover here, winner of the Nobel Prize of Literature. So, my goodness. It sounds a little bit highbrow for me, to be honest, but it sounds like such an interesting premise for a story. So, this has a little bit more of a sci-fi vibe, but also slightly contemporary. So, I think this is set in a futuristic setting where a lot of times people will purchase an android or that has, what's it called, an AI, and they purchase an AI to be a companion to like a friend or something, or maybe also someone that kind of like does work, or I don't know. But anyways, we have this little girl who is very ill, and because of her condition, she's not able to go out and do a whole lot. So she doesn't really have any friends and she's feeling very lonely. So her parents decided to let her pick out an android to be her friend, and she ends up going, and this whole story is told in this perspective of this android who is named Klara, and she's a little bit of an older style android, but this little girl becomes very attached to her and says, that's the one that I want. And so it's about Klara being around this little girl and learning about love and humanity, and it just sounds very touching. And to me personally, the idea of like a robot that learns and grows in that way, mentally, just sounds so fascinating and slightly scary to me, because I just think the Terminator. But also, it just sounds really, really cool. I love just sort of this contemporary spin on this sci-fi idea. So I'm really excited to give this one a try. I've heard it's definitely like a slow burn story, so I'm hoping that I'm able to understand it and latch onto it, and that it will intrigue me and I won't be bored. But it sounds really interesting, and I'm looking forward to giving it a try. And also, the cover just kind of gave me summer vibes for some reason. I felt like it should be read in the summer. All right, I got two more for you. This next one is a YA thriller that I'm excited to read and sounds great to read during the summer, and it is The Cousins by Karen and McManus. This story is following a group of cousins, and in this particular family, their grandmother is completely estranged from them. Apparently, there was something that happened in the past where the grandmother cut all ties with the rest of the family. This particular grandmother is very, very wealthy, and she actually owns, I don't know if she owns an island or she owns like a very large tract of land that she runs a camp on, I believe, or some kind of type of thing, or resort or something like that. And out of the blue, she sends invitations to all of her grandchildren, I believe, to come and work at her resort or camp for the summer. And all the parents are like, yes, you should go. We want to try to get back in good graces of this grandmother, because mainly they're thinking about the wealth the grandmother has and hoping that the grandmother will leave them everything. And so they go, and I think you start to learn more about like why the grandmother and this family are completely disconnected now, and there's some like sinister stuff going on. It just sounds like a good time. I'm really excited about the idea of this one, and I've heard a lot of good things. So I am definitely in the mood for some more thrillers, some more mystery. I want a book that just grabs me and I just want to devour it. So I think this is going to be another one of those kind of books. I'm really excited about it. All right. The last one definitely won't be a surprise for you if you've been around my channel for this year at least. I'm going to be reading the next book in the Keep of the Lost series called Nightfall. This is the 6th book in the series. I'm pretty sure the 9th book is coming out this year, and there's another, I think there's a 10th book in the docket. So I'm not sure if 10's the last or whatever, but this series just keeps going, but I am loving every minute of it. I apologize if you've heard me summarize this a bunch of times, but I'm just going to summarize it real quick in case someone's watching doesn't know what Keeper of the Lost Cities is. But this story is following a young girl named Sophie, and she has the ability to hear other people's thoughts. She's also very, very smart for her age, and she always feels extremely out of place. But then she ends up finding out that she's not human at all. She's actually an elf. And once she finds that out, she kind of ends up getting whisked away to this whole other kind of world with all these other different elves and creatures that she didn't think actually existed. And she ends up going to a magic school to learn how to control her abilities and making friends. And there's a whole other like realm of conspiracies and things going on. This so much reminds me of Harry Potter in the sense of Harry Potter growing up and then finding out he's a wizard and getting whisked away to the wizarding world in Hogwarts, and it's got that vibe to it, and it has that kind of like what's the word I'm looking for, oh shoot, I can't think of the word, oh no, whatever Harry is, chosen one, thank you, okay, geez, my brain, chosen one trope. It's got that chosen one trope, and I really love this series so much. There's so much action in it. All these books are freaking thick, but they read very quickly, and I love them. And I'm excited to just keep going with the series. So I'm going to be going on to the next one again. So it's going to take me most of the year to read through the series, which is pretty crazy to think about. But I am loving every moment of it, and I highly recommend reading the series. So after I feel like I blathered on and got tongue-tied a lot, sorry about that, but those are all the books that I'm hoping to read in the month of June. Please let me know down below if you have read any of these, or let me know what you're reading this summer or just in June. I would be really interested to hear kind of what your TBR or what kind of books you're in the mood for. Do you usually think contemporary books in the summer, or do you think thrillers, or I don't know, is there something that you gravitate towards in the summer? I'd be very interested to know. I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves out there. If you have a moment, try to take a moment to just breathe and find a moment to rest if you can. I feel like we're always running at 1,000,000 miles a minute. So take some time to breathe, maybe disappear into a story for a little bit, and just take care of yourselves, okay? On this side of the video over here is my logo. If you click on that, you can subscribe to my channel and follow me on my book journey. On this side of the video over here is another video if you'd like to watch another one right now. But thank you so much for watching. You rock, and don't forget to keep reading. Bye!